it's Susan here from Komori no Hime Cosplay, and today we're going to be doing another Japan travel video. Specifically, as the title suggests, we're going to be talking about eating pseudo-vegetarian in Japan. I am not able to eat red meat. It's not like a full-blown allergic reaction, but I do tend to get sick if I accidentally ingest it, so that's the reason behind that. It's not something I really talk about on this channel too much because this is a cosplay channel, but it was something that impacted our trip significantly, so I felt it was worthwhile making a video about it. Obviously, I don't mean to say that one diet is better than another or anything like that. This is just my personal circumstances. If you are someone who has a dietary restriction and accidentally ingesting it can have very strong medical consequences, I will put a link in the description box below to the site Just Hungry, where they have the option of you can print out little cards that will say in Japanese saying that you have a dietary restriction or asking if there is a particular ingredient in it, so that you can show that to restaurant or waitstaff if you have concerns, and that way you can communicate more if you are not very familiar with Japanese. So something to keep in mind, because that was something that we did notice, is that a lot of Japanese dishes had animal products in them and it wasn't always clearly labeled, or it was something that was just the traditional way that it was made, so nobody really thought to mention it. Like, a lot of sauces contain fish, so again, something to keep in mind and something to research before you go. And the actual beginning of the vegetarian eating starts before you even get to Japan. If you are on a very long flight, we were flying from the Washington DC area to Tokyo. It was a very long flight, and they did provide food on the plane. We were flying with ANA, and the service with them was very good. They did provide 2 meals and a snack. They had like a dinner and then a little sandwich and then breakfast, and you had the option to, once you purchase your tickets, go online and choose a meal option if you had dietary concerns, and they had a huge number of meal options available. They had vegan, they had lacto-ovo-vegetarian, which is what I chose. They had all sorts of religious-based diets, and the availability of those, it varies, but because it was such a large international flight, they had a whole bunch of things available. It was very easy to select. We did call the airline a couple days before our flight just to confirm, and they were like, yeah, we've got you on there for that, and when you board the plane, they will come and confirm with you, hey, are you the person who has this particular diet? And then they'll just put a little sticker on your seat so that the flight staff is aware that you're the person that needs that particular meal. It was very painless. There wasn't like a big scene made about it or anything like that. They would just bring it when they were bringing everybody else their food, and very glad that I did it, because even though airlines do have multiple food options, so for example, my husband doesn't have any dietary restrictions, so he was just going off of the in-flight options. And while they do, you can have either set A or set B for each of the meals. A lot of them did contain meat, so I wouldn't have been able to eat them anyway, so I was very, very glad that we went ahead and made sure to pick something that I could eat throughout the flight, because you don't want to go hungry. That would not be good. Or have any other bad things happen in your meal. So definitely recommend doing that. And one thing I also recommend doing before you even get to Japan is researching restaurants where you can eat. I was watching a lot of like Charlotte in Japan or Cakes with Faces or other J-vloggers that talk about food and talk about vegetarian options, and then when we were making our itinerary of what we were doing in Japan, if we were like, oh, we're going to be in Akihabara this day, we would put on the itinerary the places that had vegetarian options. That way you don't end up in a situation where you're like, oh no, I don't know what I can eat and I'm really hungry, and then that just really sucks. So that way you know where you can go, you know what you can eat, and that just makes the trip go so much smoother. A couple places that I can recommend is Moss Burger, which is in Akihabara, and it is a chain. They have, I think, a soy and a veggie option. not the greatest burger in the world, but it is an option, and it's fairly easy to find, and the menu was very clearly in English, so that was very easy. There's also Tendentenya, which is another chain that is a tempura restaurant, and they do have a veggie tempura set that you could do. And trying to think, also Tea's Tantan, which at the time that we were going, their Tokyo Station location was shut down, but they do have other locations, and they have a vegan menu for those of you who are vegan. For restaurants that are on the Tokyo Station platform, or if it mentions that the restaurant is in a station, there's a possibility that it may be behind the gate, so you may have to purchase a platform ticket to go to the restaurants that are on the platform, so something to keep in mind. The other place that worked really well for having a vegetarian diet is actually conveyor belt sushi, and just general chain conveyor belt sushis have so many options. A lot of times you order through a little touch screen that's on the table. Most of them have an English menu option. That was very easy to do, and even though it is a sushi place, a lot of time they will have a vegetarian, like there is for example an eggplant or a corn sushi, so veggie options, and they will have some things that are not necessarily sushi, but all of the conveyor belt sushi places that we went had french fries as an option, and while it feels a little weird to order french fries at a sushi place, you don't have to feel weird about it, because I noticed a lot of other people ordering them with their sushi. Totally cool. So that's another option as well. Along with the restaurants and conveyor belt sushi, also convenience stores. At least the convenience stores in Japan are a lot higher quality than what I'm used to, at least in my area of the United States. Convenience stores and gas stations tend to not have the greatest food, but Japan, the food was very good, and there was a lot of options and a lot of healthy options in the convenience store. So there was a Family Mart across the street from our hotel that we were staying at, and that's where we went for breakfast every day. And I specifically made sure, since finding food, even with our itinerary planned out, was always a little uncertain, I like to make sure to have a good, filling, healthy breakfast at the convenience store before we went out for the day. You can also get snacks at the convenience store and keep them in your bag, so that that's with you in case you do get hungry as you're traveling around. So I hope you found this video helpful. I know it's a little bit different from what I normally do, but it was something that was just such a big deal on our trip that I wanted to mention it. If you have any suggestions for any restaurants in the Tokyo area or in Japan in general that have a vegetarian or vegan option that you think is really great, let me know in the description box below, or excuse me, in the comments below, so that other people watching this video can get an idea other than the ones that I've already mentioned on here. And thank you so much for watching. If there is a particular aspect of our Japan trip that you would like to have me talk about further in a future video, let me know that as well. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.